Hello, we're live, I think. Hi, everyone. I am back with a cooking video today, actually a baking video. So I'm going to give people a few minutes to join in. We are going to be baking some banana bread today, and I'm going to give you some tips along the way and talk about all things fall and Thanksgiving's coming up, at least for here, for those of us here in Canada, it is. So if you're there, chime in. Let me know how you're doing today, if you're doing any cooking and baking. And we are making again, if you're just joining, my best banana bread recipe from Plant Powered Families. It's right here. And this recipe has been a staple for me for a long time. I've modified it a little bit over the years. The first version of this recipe was in my very first book, and it had a little bit of oil in it, so I took that out and I modified the recipe a little bit in some other ways. And now it's just so simple to make, and people love it. Like every time I make this, people love it. And hi, Pam. Yeah, let's make some banana bread, right? It's so good. It's such a like comforting, homey recipe, and every time I make it for the kids, they love it. And I usually double batch it. So when I make it, I tend to use big bowl, double batch the ingredients, and make 2 loaves. And you can make it into muffins as well. The recipe link, by the way, is in the description to the video. And Debbie's saying, that's so fun. Debbie's saying Sundays are plant-based dog food cooking day in Powell River, BC. Well, that's a new one. I love that. Haven't heard that before. Thanks for sharing. So I have, oh, and hi from Oxford, Mississippi, Karen. Hey, nice to hear from you. The kids are out of the house. Charlotte's working. Hope is at swim. Well, Bridget's here with the dog, but she's going to try to keep him quiet. And so it's a good time for me to bake. And I have a new oven. So I think in my last video, I mentioned that my oven was broken, or I mentioned it in a post somewhere. And I worked the heck out of that oven, I'll tell you. I have had that oven for 9 years, and it was a gas range. And Paul, my husband, joked that my oven is kind of like, that's like dog ears for my oven because I use it probably like 3 times a day, and all the recipe testing I've done over the years, okay, not 3 times a day, but some days, twice a day for sure, that it's probably been put to use like 3 times of its natural life. So I got a good 9 years out of it. It was literally falling apart, the display and everything, and now I have a new oven, and let's see if I can, woohoo, isn't that pretty? Look at that. What a gorgeous oven. And I love it. It's it has an air fryer. So if any of you have an oven with the air fryer option or setting, I have never had that in an oven, and I'd like to know if you use it and how it works. And it has, you know, it's convection and all that. So I have a banana bread baking in there now. And so what I thought I'd do was demo one being made and then pull it out after. So I kind of got to baking this recipe a little bit early for you guys so you could see the finished result. I'm just going to double check it. I have a feeling it's going to bake quicker in this new oven. I just have this feeling, so I may check it a couple of times throughout. Hi, Jacqueline. So let's start. I will mention though, in Canada, Thanksgiving is next weekend. And I know for those of you elsewhere, you probably think that's crazy. It seems crazy to me because it feels very early. It's before Halloween, and it always feels like it just kind of comes right on us in Canada. It's like, oh, what? It's Thanksgiving. So we're trying to get our heads around that and making Thanksgiving food. I'm embracing fall this year. Every year I'm like, no, fall, I want summer back. And this year I'm feeling different. I'm enjoying it. I'm wearing some fall colors, and every other year I'm like pulling the black and the charcoal out of the closet, right? Just begrudgingly moving into fall. But I really love it this year, and I think a lot of people love fall. I think it's a favorite season for most people. Yes, Debbie, it is a gas oven, and I switched to gas once we moved into our home from renting, Mary, I can almost smell the banana bread. Yeah, it smells that good. I shifted from an electric range to gas, and there was no going back. Like in terms of the range, how efficiently it cooks, right? It's an amazing cooking experience to use gas. Okay, I better get going, or I'll just chat forever, which that happens. If you know me, I will chat. So I'm gonna move the camera down. And if you're getting ready for Thanksgiving, tell me what you're doing, what you're making, or like if you're in the US, are you thinking about Thanksgiving yet? Is it even on the radar for you, or is it just too early to think about it? Yeah, it feels exceptionally early for us. But I don't go crazy at Thanksgiving. I think for me, Christmas is more of a big meal event than Thanksgiving. I feel like Thanksgiving is much bigger in the States. I know it is, than it is in Canada. I'm measuring my flour, and you just saw how I measured that. I just kind of scoop it in. Sometimes I just use my fingers. My hands are clean, and just level it off. And this is whole wheat pastry flour. You can use spelt flour if you want. In fact, that's in the recipe. And just measure an extra couple of tablespoons of the spelt flour if you're using that. And then some oat flour, and people ask me why I don't use all oat flour often in recipes. Too early to plan, Mary. Yeah, right? It's like your Thanksgiving, I think, is usually around the 24th, 25th of November, and ours is a month and a half before that. It's so early. I use a 3/4 cup of oat flour, and as I was saying, I don't tend to use all oat flour in baked goods. I find it can become a little sticky, like a little bit gummy almost. So I like a blend, and that's my preference. If you want to make this gluten-free, I do have notes in the recipe in Plan for Our Families how to make it gluten-free, but this obviously isn't, right? And then we have baking soda and baking powder. I tend to reuse a lot of these little containers we get. This is some dairy-free gelato we got over the summer. This is a 1/4 teaspoon of soda, and then salt. Oh wow, Debbie's saying her husband's birthday is the same weekend as Thanksgiving, so that's crazy busy, right? Usually make a plant-based tortilla with roasted veg and mushroom gravy. That sounds amazing. Is it your recipe, Debbie, or is it online? Share it up for people if it's your recipe. Or if it's online for people, I mean. That sounds amazing. I love the roasted veg, right? I think growing up, I always loved the sides for our Christmas dinner. And again, Thanksgiving, I don't even remember Thanksgiving as a kid. If you're in Canada and you're around my age, do you remember, and I'll be 50 this month, do you remember Thanksgiving as a kid? Because I don't remember it at all. Like, Christmas, yes, but Thanksgiving, don't remember what we did. I feel like it's grown in Canada a lot in the last few years. And but at Christmas, I always really liked the side dishes and trying to remember what else I have to put in here. Cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon and a little bit of nutmeg. I always loved the gravy and the dressing. We used to have in Newfoundland. It was a dressing with lots of dried savory. And actually, we didn't have roasted veg as much as boiled vegetables, but I still preferred it. I always liked the side dishes because they had flavor with like the dressing and the gravy and such. So roasted vegetables have far more flavor anyhow. Okay, now we're gonna do the bananas. So in this recipe, I'm just checking my bread because I'm believing it's gonna be done soon. I just have this suspicion. Yeah, it's definitely done early, so I'm gonna pull that out. I think it's done. Yep. So what I'm doing there is I'm just, I just turn my timer off and then I have to start this again. Sorry guys. It's new for me, so I'm like, what am I doing? There. Okay, I'm back. What was I talking about? Oh, the bananas. So when I make the bananas for this recipe, I don't mash the bananas. You can. A couple of reasons I don't mash the bananas. I like them pureed. I like the mixture pureed. It makes it very silky, makes it easy to incorporate. I also cannot stand mashing bananas. It's really boring to me, bothers my arm after a while. So I like this, even though you have one dish to clean, but it's not a big deal. Two options for pureeing the banana. You can use a small food processor like this. I've done that many times. You can use an immersion blender, and I'll add the link to this. I didn't add it. Like so. Or I use my Blendtec twister jar, which I talk about all the time. It's probably the jar I use the most because it's so handy for dressings and for small purees like this, puddings, dressings, sauces. So I've made this recipe enough that I know it's about 2 bananas. So there's one. And I have to turn that on again. Timer off. Convection. Okay, sorry guys. I'm getting the hang of it here. It's beeping a lot. So I know it's 2 bananas that are freckly. These aren't as freckly as I'd like them. They're pretty freckly, but I like them even a little bit more. So it's about 2 bananas. You can use frozen. If you have some bananas that are already sliced, overripe, and in the freezer, then you can pull those out. They're going to be a little harder to get going, but let them thaw a bit, right? And then puree them. Yeah, see, Tanya says she doesn't remember Thanksgiving and she's 48. Yeah, I remember Halloween, Christmas, all the other events, Easter, but Thanksgiving. And Debbie's saying she doesn't either. Yeah, I think that's what you're saying, you don't either. Oh, Beth is saying, speaking of roasted veggies, she just made the magnificent mac from Plant Power Families. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So that one is kind of fun because, let me see if I can find the picture real quick. You bake up everything for the mix. Okay, I may not find it, guys, and I don't want to be looking for it all this time. You roast the vegetables ahead of time, including onion and sweet potato, and you roast it all in the oven and then pull it out and blend it up with the other ingredients, and that roasted flavor becomes like so tasty in the mix. It's not as much of a cheesy mac as it is just a yummy mac casserole, right? Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, and we're gonna blend these bananas, and this should yield about a cup pureed. That's what we need. So we're gonna give that a go and see. Can you guys see this? Let's move it into the camera. Wrong way. There. It's a little stubborn bit in there. Okay, and that is about a cup, as you can see. So, whoop, wrong way. Figure this out one day. Okay, so that's about a cup. It's just about on the 1 cup line, so that's fair. And there's some clinging to the side, so I'll just scrape it all out. And if you're just joining us, I'm making best banana bread from Plant Power Families. It's whole grain, oil-free, vegan, not gluten-free, but there is a gluten-free version in the book. And then, once I know I have a cup there, I then like to add the other wet ingredients, because then it's easier to pour all of it out of the jar, because the banana is clingy and wants to kind of hang in there. So we're going to add 1/3 cup of maple syrup. So this is the only other sweetener we're adding. We've got the bananas and then the maple syrup, and that's it. And a little bit of vanilla. It's 2 teaspoons. Whoa, that was like 1.5. That's okay, I like the taste of vanilla. I could add a lot more. Sorry, I didn't put that down again. And milk. So I think it's 3/4 cup of milk. Or is it 1/2 cup? Sorry guys, I gotta look at that real quick. 1/2 cup. I usually remember that part, but there. 1/2 cup of milk. And this is an oat milk. I mentioned this one on another video. It's from Costco, and it's a really nice brand. And I remember Angie mentioned it's just water and oats, and I didn't even realize that when we picked it up. It's really simple ingredients. And my husband just picked up, like, I don't know, 6 or 8 cases of it from Costco. He does that. He gets a lot of pride in stocking up on certain things. Oat milk, beans, toilet paper. I think he's waiting for the second wave, but he's always been this way. He's always like stocked up a lot. So we didn't run out of toilet paper during the whole pandemic and what was going on because he already had so much out there. We got low though. All right, and so I'm just gonna blitz that. And then you see it's a little thinner, it won't cling. And Beth is saying, oh no, sorry, I did see that already. Thought I missed a comment. Okay, so adding that, and if you guys made this banana bread, I know a lot of you already know the recipe. There. But if it's new to you, I think you're gonna love it. It's because it's nice and easy, and you can make it into muffins. I have that option in the recipe as well. And so just mix that around. Now the first version I made without chocolate chips, and this is what I usually do when I make this recipe. I make one bread without chocolate chips, and then I make the other one with. Just gonna have some of my tea. It's really good today. Sometimes I make it and it's not as good. It's my green tea latte, and it's good today. Anyhow, I'm gonna add chips to this one, and these are mini chips. And I like to add the mini chips to the banana bread because when you're slicing it, the big chips kind of get chunky when you're slicing it. It's a little harder to slice. So we'll just add that in there. Do you guys like banana bread with chips, or do you like it plain? So my sister Debbie, I really remember this very fondly. When she had her first baby, and she was a nurse, she started to go back to work part-time, and she asked me to do some babysitting for her little one, her daughter, when she was about a year. And she used to have this banana bread always. She'd make banana bread often and have it there, and I could snack on it when I was babysitting. And it always had chocolate chips, and I remember thinking it was the most delicious, like amazing thing, the combination of chocolate in the yummy, like overripe banana bread. It was just, I was sold, right? I was then 17, I think, and that was it. Done deal. Ever since I've been adding it. So then we're gonna add it, transfer it all now to, the oven's preheated to 350, and we're gonna add it to a baking loaf dish. I have used these glass Pyrex ones forever and a decade, right? I just feel like I've had these forever. They don't seem to ever break. It's been banged around. I don't know if you guys have these. They're super, super durable. And what I do is I just wipe a little bit of oil on the inside and then a strip of parchment paper. Now, it's an oil-free banana bread, but putting just a little wipe of oil or spray on the inner side, I mean, it's less than half a teaspoon, right? It's probably even less than that. You're literally wiping it to make it easier to remove. That's it. And the parchment will help too. So when your parchment, you just take a strip of parchment like so and line it inside. And then when it's baked, you just pull it out after it's cooled. It makes it easy to remove. Then you're not digging in with a knife, okay? So we're gonna layer that in there. And most of us, even if you're oil-free, I think a lot of us still have some kind of oil in the house for, even if it's for like skincare or something like that. When I buy coconut butter, I skim off, there's always a little bit of oil at the top, so I skim that off and just put it in a dish, and then I use that for baking. But yeah, some of us have it for like dry skin and that kind of thing. There. Speaking of dry skin, I just posted, if you're at all interested in vegan skincare, I just posted about a line that I've been using for 3 months, and it's not multi-level marketing or anything like that. I've never been a skincare girl, as in I've never used a line or a regimen, and I was almost dismissive with this when I was asked to try it out, and I'm not being paid for it. I got to use the products, and I was almost dismissive because I thought, everything is out there says it's effective and has results and whatnot, and I just didn't think it would be anything different, right? And I was quite surprised. It's really effective. It's amazing, vegan, clean skincare, and I have seen such a change and improvement in my skin in terms of how moisturized it is, and like just subtle changes in stress lines and that kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, I just posted it. You can hop over to my blog. It's the most recent post, dreenaburton.com, and the link is also there too. And there's a giveaway. Oh, I forgot that. That's like the biggest part. There's a giveaway of a sleep-in mask, and you just put it on before you go to bed, and it's like waking up. Your skin feels so hydrated, especially this time of year when it's cold out. And there's also a bonus offer if you want to look into buying. It's a small company here in BC that I connected with them. Amazing, sweet people. And yeah, they're not going to just try to like run off with your money kind of thing. They really care about what they do, and that's pretty unique right now. I've rambled. There I go again. See, this is what happens. Okay, so that's my banana bread, but I always love to sprinkle it with a few extra chips on the top, just to let everyone know. This is the one with the chocolate chips. Plus, who doesn't love a little extra chocolate on the top, right? This goes in the oven. Usually about 40 to 45 minutes. With this new oven, that's a convection oven, this one baked about 38 minutes for me. So I always recommend, I'm gonna get this in the oven and then top more. Okay, let's work this timer. Here we go. Timer. Woo, I did it. I did it. So I always recommend that when you're baking, every oven is different, and sometimes the oven temperature changes and it's not calibrated, and we don't really know. So it's always good to check for doneness, and there's a couple of things that you can do when it's baking. This is still a little bit warm. I touch it with my finger. And if my finger's not sinking in, like you can tell if it's super soft, it's just not set in the middle at all. And you want to test towards the middle. So if it's got some spring back, you know, okay, it's set, good. It's ready to remove. If it's a little bit spongy or soft, put it back, like leave it for another few minutes. Another thing you can do is a skewer or a toothpick where you insert it in and it comes out dry. But I do find that that's a little bit tricky, because if you're using oat flour or something, sometimes it's just a stickier flour and it does stick to the toothpick a little bit, especially when you're not using oil, right? Like years ago, that was a great test. And I remember my mother doing it with a skewer and it would come out super clean, but that tended to be when there was a lot of butter in the batter and everything. So I like the touch test to just see that it's working, that it's completely set. And you don't want to leave it too much longer, it will dry out, right? The more you leave it in there, it gets a little drier. I'm also one that tends to like banana bread a little bit sticky in the middle. Anyone else? Does anyone else love a banana bread or a loaf that when you slice into that middle piece, it's like a little bit underdone and it's kind of, I don't know, it's like almost like cookie dough. So if it is a little bit underdone in the middle, I'd rather that than it be dried out. So let this cool completely in the loaf dish like this until it's completely cool. Put it on a cooling rack. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to walk it over to the cooling rack. And then once it's finished cool, then lift it out with the parchment, and then you can slice it. And it can be frozen. People ask me that all the time. And yes, you can freeze this. Doesn't usually last that long in our house, I got to tell you. Like a loaf of banana bread is gone the next day. But you can freeze it, and you can slice it into like smaller pieces than slices. Do what you want, right? It's your banana bread. Sonia is here. Hi, Sonia. She's making the sweet potato muffins right now. I'm super happy you're enjoying the videos. Thank you. And I have been using the mini chips that I tend to buy often are the Enjoy Life because there's not many mini chip brands out there that are vegan. However, I will say that I just noticed, if you're in Canada, that at the Superstore Loblaws, they have these mini chips that size. The President's Choice line, they seem to have removed the milk. So I always used to check that brand, and they had milk in it. And now it looks like straight up dark chocolate. So that's an option too. That's the President's Choice line. But I know that Enjoy Life is very available in the States, Canada, elsewhere. It's a pretty popular brand. And their mini chips are great. So I think that's it. And I don't see any other questions, so I will probably sign off. I will wish you a beautiful Sunday, and let me know if you're in Canada, if you're getting ready for Thanksgiving, and we will talk soon. Check out my post. Go enter the giveaway for all O Cosmetics. You don't have to buy anything to enter that giveaway, and you can just get a sense of the quality of that skincare and just soak it up in the night and wake up with like really, really silky, smooth skin. And it also has active ingredients that are working on your skin too. It's clean, like no weird fragrances and chemicals and that kind of thing in there. So definitely hop over to my site and enter the giveaway and learn about it. I also shared before and after pictures, which is a little bit vulnerable for me, I have to say. Like, I took bare face photos at the beginning and midway. And midway, my skin looked older. So be kind if you're commenting. Anyhow, that's it. Thank you, Sonia. And everyone have a really good day. Enjoy the banana bread. The links are in the description, and I'll sign off, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.